Happy Monday, y'all. Guess my dog's gonna be in the show as well. Happy Monday, y'all. TK Trinidad here for WWT Live. We have so much to talk about. You want to keep it locked for all things wrestling coming up next.
I am your forever ROH Women's Champion, your fallen goddess, the Alpha, the Minion, Overlord, the ROH Gatekeeper. But most of all, I am the best in the world, Athena, and you are watching Women's Wrestling Talk.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Happy Monday, y'all. We're talking all things wrestling, but I am not alone. I mean, Dylan, he is calling for a new intro, but I kind of like this intro. The professor is in the building.
Go forward. Go forward. Go forward. Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday. What up, Dylan? I agree. I love Athena. I guess my dog loves her too. But I definitely am for it. But we have a guest co-host in the building, hailing from Jersey, Miss Courtney Rice. How are you doing?
Hi, happy Monday. I'm doing pretty good.
Excellent. Shout out to Eric. Happy Raw Monday. Yeah, we got. Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like what we need to do is have like Bill Maher. He has like an after show after the show, because I want to talk all things A&E biography, because I did a whole deep dive and I think I watched like 13 of them back to back. I have so many things to say. But we can't do all that right now because we are on the clock and everybody has things to do. But Professor, today is a historic day. Do you want to kind of start with that?
It is. It is. As 13 years ago, we learned about the Divas of Doom, not the Legion of Doom. That's Hawk and Animal. The Divas of Doom would be Beth Phoenix and Natalya. And they came together 13 years ago with a very simple mission: to take out the entire SmackDown Divas division. And I think they did a really, really good job. They had a number of women's championships between them. Of course, back then, there were no women's tag team titles. If there were, I think they would have absolutely been the front runners to win those titles and keep those titles for a long, long time. But shout out to Beth Phoenix and Natalya 13 years ago today, which is pretty incredible when you think about that. Shout out to the Divas of Doom.
Shout out to Divas of Doom. And also, fun fact, going to my A&E biography deep dive this weekend. I'm sure we all saw this, the China biography, where Beth was talking about how China impacted her and encouraged her to, wrestle, because it's just a different type of, you're so used to seeing one type of female, and China just really brought a lot of things forward. And I think she also really inspired, I know she inspired so many other female wrestlers. I know Jordan Grace also talked about her as well. Sure. But it's so amazing to see where women's wrestling was then and where it is now. Is just like, you can't even, it's like night and day, like even like 5 years ago.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at, again, during that era 13 years ago, very much still the Divas division. And so Beth Phoenix and Natalya were anomalies because they were powerhouses. And, they were not as concerned about being, models and things like that. They wanted to wrestle. And they were very, very clear about that. And so their wrestling skills, I mean, obviously, both of their pedigrees are incredible. And so because of that, they literally were head and shoulders above the rest of their division. So it was really, really fun. I actually wish we could take them from 13 years ago and bring them to the women's wrestling movement now, because I think they'd have a lot more fun. There'd be a lot more competition. You talk about how China influenced so many. Beth Phoenix obviously influenced quite a bit. I think obviously without a China, without a Beth Phoenix, without a Natalia, we don't have the Jordan Graces. We don't have a Bianca Belair. We don't have a Jade Cargill without them, a Camille, and so many others. So shout out to them for really being trailblazers.
Courtney?
So interesting. It's so interesting watching women's wrestling because unfortunately I didn't watch it during the Attitude Era. I actually watched it in 2002 in the Ruthless Aggression era. That era with Trish, Molly, Gail, Jacqueline, Ivory, Jazz, Victoria, those girls really set the standard for women's wrestling at that time. And unfortunately, this is when Lita had her neck injury, but they were starting to have its peak. But of course, it took a turn when the Diva Search came in, and that was really bumming because I get so excited when women's wrestling is at the forefront. And then, of course, you had Beth, James, Natalia was starting to come in, and they were really starting to. And I kind of wish Beth was there at that time, even now, or even when Trish and some of the other girls were there at that time. I could imagine her being so competitive. And even some of the girls back then, they were getting in the ring with the guys, and they didn't even care. They just went in. So it's really nice to see women's wrestling at the forefront again in all promotions. So that makes me excited.
There it is. That's the reason Women's Wrestling Talks here. I definitely want to shout out our international, unofficial, official producer, Dylan. Him saying a historic day today, Divas of Doom debut, 10 years of the passing of the great Robin Williams, and it's my dog's 5th birthday. I mean, so many things.
It's a lot happening. Yeah. A lot of happening. A lot of emotions there for sure.
A lot of emotions. What else we got?
Well, from the partnership of the Divas of Doom to not exactly the greatest partnership over in AEW. If you'll remember, it's been a couple of weeks since we had seen one Britt Baker on AEW television, and that was because of what many said was indeed a suspension. The suspension was lifted this past Wednesday as she appeared on Dynamite via satellite. There's been a lot of talk in terms of why she was suspended, potentially an incident involving her and MJF and Alicia Tout. Well, MJF has sort of broken his silence. And I say sort of because sometimes when MJF talks, he says a lot and says a little all at the same time. So he recently spoke to Cultaholic, and in speaking to them, here's what he said. You can do with this what you'd like. He says, quote, "Tell me if this passes the smell test. I barge into a woman's locker room. I scream in the face of a 110-pound woman. Then I physically threaten her by punching a wall in her vicinity, and I don't get suspended. Does that pass the smell test to you? Almost everything that was written about this incident didn't happen." He goes on to say that everybody has coworkers at work that they may not get along with. And I have a feeling that this was blown out of proportion because of all of the English wrestling commentary places that make money off of people like me, who are far more rich and talented, handsome and humble, and they need clickbait. Now, he did say this. He said wrestling is a very competitive sport. It breeds a level of insecurity like no other. However, I can easily put over other talent, regardless of whether or not I like them as a human being. He says, I can tell you that Britt Baker versus Mercedes Moné at Wembley will be an epic match, and we should all be excited to watch it. The last line is interesting, though, because he says, I don't have to like all my coworkers, and that's fine. Interesting thoughts there from MJF. Again, he said a lot. He said a little. And in reality, I think it's safe to say he may not be the biggest fan of Britt Baker, again, based on his words and not mine.
Ooh, he should have ended it like this.
Go forward.
Like, that would have been the tie up to everything. Like, just, I mean, and he did it. Kudos to him for not burning down like the building. You know, you can add salacious stuff if you want to. People are paying attention to him because he is MJF. I think how he went about it was he still stuck to who he is, said his piece, but he also didn't say all types of other crazy stuff that would have been an issue for the company, been an issue for his girlfriend, and just been an issue all parties involved.
Agreed. Courtney, what do you think about this? I know you're a fan of AEW. How does this all compute to you?
I'm actually going to say this because my background is PR and media, and I'm taking this from a perspective. I try not to dive into a lot of dirt sheets, and it does make me upset that some reports do leak out because we don't know the whole truth to all this. Because there's always two sides to every story, and also whatever happens in the locker room should have stayed in the locker room, and it should have been handled in a different way. I mean, I don't know the whole story of it because there's many layers that not many people are talking about. And I know Britt and MJF have not seen eye to eye in the past. So it has really gotten a little bit out of hand, but it is a step on what MJF, because that's who he is. I mean, that's who he is as a person. I can't do nothing about that. But I'm hoping that they let bygones be bygones, especially because you're right before the biggest show of the whole year with Wembley, and you don't want a lot of dirty PR into this. So it does break my heart to see some of this stuff leaking out because at the end of the day, we don't know what is true and what is not. So I'm hoping it is going to take a step into the next direction, and the big focus is pretty much going into All In and just entertaining the fans over in the UK.
I have a question for your PR in mind. Before we get into that, shout out to everybody in the chat. Jeffrey, Matt, JD. I haven't seen you in a minute, JD, but I haven't been around either. So I guess we're two ships sailing in the wind. Shout out to our information officer, Bosa. Now, Courtney, being the PR mind that you have, do you think the fake TK, and that's what we refer to him on this show, do you think how he was going about making his announcements and stuff was the right thing to do, or the thing to do for AEW? Or do you think there's another way to kind of bring AEW to a legitimate number 2 spot without the hoopla?
I think from my perspective, because I've been watching AEW since 2022, and it's awesome that they've been around for 5 years. That is amazing. I do feel bad for their PR team because they have to deal with some of the nonsense over there. And I do feel like there should have been at least a protocol or a plan in place, because sometimes things get out of hand and we don't know what happens. And especially if it leaks out on, God forbid, not Instagram, but Twitter, that's also another layer to do, because a lot of times some superstars in the last couple of weeks get in hot water, and sometimes it can get a little bit out of hand. But it would just be good where I just think it would have been in a different direction and something differently. And I felt like it should have been handled it. And also, at the end of the day, wrestlers are humans and they do have feelings, but also at the same time, stuff like this that happens in the locker room should be avoided at all costs. Because whatever happens in that locker room should stay in that locker room and none of it. So I don't know how it got leaked out. I don't know how it got reported, but those kind of things that I feel sometimes they should, not wrestlers, but also people who work within professional wrestling should have been handled a little bit properly.
Shout out to Cliff in the building. Bosa's been a little spicy the last couple of weeks. He's saying, oh my God, every time he teases these announcements, I hate to say it, it screams desperation for ratings. He does it when the card that night isn't attractive on paper. Okay.
I mean,
what do you think, Professor?
I think a few things. I think, again, this is the ultimate picture of two things. Number one, a very young locker room. The need to always state what happens in private settings just speaks to youth and inexperience. And I think, again, when you've not dealt with issues of a sensitive matter, and again, in this social media driven age, it's like people feel like they have to tell everything. It goes back to what we talked about, I think, a week or so ago, when that picture of Shane McMahon and Tony Khan leaked from what was supposed to be a private meeting. Like, who sits in these spaces and takes these kinds of pictures? And so I think it's a young locker room. I also feel like B, this is a space where Tony Khan and his company has to really set down ground rules for how we behave. That just has to be. It needs to be where, kind of like a lot of families who were taught what happens at home stays at home, and I don't think that understanding is very clear in the AEW locker rooms. Now, I'm sure there are other things that happen that don't leak out, but what leaks out has been way too much for many of us to deal with. We shouldn't be aware of that. And they had worked the story in such a way where you would not have known that Britt Baker was suspended unless somebody said something, And so I think there are just too many incidents that have happened. And what's unfortunate is you would have thought that after last year's All In debacle involving Punk, they would have figured out, okay, let's tighten up the ship and let's get things right so that we don't have any alternate stories happening here as we go into the biggest show of the year. My goodness, I think they have enough of a challenge really trying to sell this thing out. I won't go into some of the reports that I can confirm about what some of these numbers look like over there and why they look the way that they do. But I really feel as though they've got to have those two things in place. One, it's a young locker room who needs to tighten things up. But bigger than that, Tony Khan has to take control of his company and say, these are rules of operation and engagement. Because a number of those stars have never been in a big company before. So they don't know how that should be done. For a lot of them, it's their first time working in a place this large. So you cannot treat a major company like you do an independent company. It's the difference of a mom and pop and a corporation. They don't run the same. And if you choose to run them the same, the problems are going to be bigger and the fallout is going to be greater.
All right. Anything else to add? I want to call you Miss PR. I mean, I'm the queen of giving people names, but we'll see how it flows.
Just a little bit. I mean, for me, I do think there should be some protocol. I want them to succeed. I would love for them to succeed, and they're going into 5 years. I would love to see them surpass 5. I don't want them to fall just like WCW did. I want them to succeed. So, of course, there's going to be hurdles, but this is going to be some of the lessons not only Tony has to learn, but also their PR and media team has to learn. This is going to be something that they do, and I'm hoping there's no controversy between now and All In. So I'm hoping that they have a great show. They have a great next couple of shows with Dynamite and Collision. And I know next week they're going to be in the UK all next week. So I'm hoping there's no nonsense and no crisis happening.
I hope so too. But speaking of nonsense and crisis, he's in the building, y'all.
Wow.
Said he's building.
And he starts off muted. That's great.
Speaking of nonsense and crisis, how dare you, ma'am? How dare you? Crisis, yes. Nonsense, never.
Well, there it is.
Said's about to pound the streets.
This is in 2 weeks' times.
What do we got?
Battle of the politicians. We pounded a lot that day.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well,
yeah. You missed it. You missed it, Professor. There's gonna be a battle of politicians happening on what day is that gonna be? It's gonna be the 26th or something. Right before we go to Jamaica. There's gonna be a battle of politicians between Said and the councilman. They're gonna be having a battle, and apparently everybody's supposed to send their topics in, and they will.
Mayor Cedric, by the way, not Said. Mayor Cedric.
Yes. There it is.
Courtney meet Mayor Cedric. What do we got next?
Well, we'll stick in AEW for a bit. We were talking about All In, and the main event there, of course, sees the AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland defend against Bryan Danielson. It is title versus career, where if Bryan Danielson doesn't win the AEW World Championship, he's hanging it up. And there's a recent interview that he's just released that says that it is a lot easier for him to imagine his life going forward without wrestling. He says it's something that I'm ready. He said, if I lose, I'm forced to retire, and it's something that I'm ready for. I'm kind of ready to be done. He goes on to say, I'd rather be at home. I don't want to miss out. Birdie, she's 7 now. She's going to turn into a teenager, and she's going to have other things. Now she wants daddy there all the time, and I want to be there for that. Also, my body is broken down. The odds are I probably am going to have neck surgery before the end of the year. It's a lot easier to imagine my life going forward without me wrestling. It's hard for me to imagine me keep doing this, especially within the last year. And of course, he said that on the podcast that belongs to his wife and his sister-in-law, the Nikki and Bree show. So is this really an indicator that Bryan Danielson will hang it up on August the 25th or nah? Courtney, speak your piece.
I don't think so. And I had a conversation about this with my brother about this because I have a feeling something's going to happen in the main event. And I don't know what it is because it's either, of course, I want to say Hangman's going to screw him, but I don't know. This is kind of left field. And I had a conversation with my brother about this. And I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but I have a feeling Nigel may interfere in Daniel Bryan's match because if you see him commentary on Collision the last couple of weeks, he's been wanting Bryan Danielson to be out of here. So, I mean, going back to the Ring of Honor days, but that's kind of like out of the blue. So, I don't know. I feel like it could be something, but I have a feeling that I don't think he's going to hang it up yet. And also considering Wrestle Dream is going to be in Swerve's hometown. So that's another thing to think about too. And also they're both from Washington. So it's going to be interesting to see. So I have a feeling it's going to end a little bit of a controversial finish.
Speaking of another controversial, before we speak on other things as well. Honey's in the building.
Hello. What's up? Happy Monday, y'all. How we doing? Ooh, it's
Happy
a full
Monday.
house.
It is a full house. What do you got to say, Ced?
Brian's a very good liar. And he has been for a long time. So the fact that this is on the wife and sister-in-law's podcast doesn't hold much weight with me because he's a phenomenal liar. So I don't believe that he'll be done as of All In. I do think he'll lose just because you open up another type of controversy if Swerve is like the shortest AEW World Champion that I don't think the fake TK wants. So I don't know how we get there. I'll say that Bryan closes out this year of his career, 2024, but I don't think it ends at All In.
I feel like he made the announcement in Seattle at Wrestle Dream because he did it at the pay-per-view and I was at that pay-per-view. And he did mention that he does want to slow it down. And I believe he also mentioned that he's kind of the fake TK's part of his team behind the scenes. So, I mean, I feel like Bosa was the one who mentioned it. There was a comment where he does, Bosa's saying, my gut tells me Bryan wins at Wembley, loses it at Wrestle Dream. That would be the perfect place to end his full-time career because it'd be almost 1 year to the date that he kind of announced that he's wanting to retire. So that would be a good tie. And I do not like the fact that it would be Swerve's like kind of the short. But if he comes back and wins in his hometown at Wrestle Dream, as far as Swerve, he wins it back. that's an interesting take as well. But anything's possible. Honey?
I personally think, I mean, with anything wrestling related, it always has to be the quote that's never say never. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bryan Danielson has had a stellar career as both Bryan Danielson and Daniel Bryan, if you're depending on who you're talking about or who you're talking to. I personally think that this is where he should start hanging it up. He is due for surgery really soon. For his neck and his back. You know, he's admitted that, you know, his body's pretty much breaking down. I think he should take some time off to recuperate that and recover from all of that. You know, I'm not saying that he won't be a part of wrestling. We obviously know that he would be great in creative and bookings as well, because he's totally multi-talented. But I think this is where he should kind of hang it up and do exactly what he said he wants to do. Spend some more time with the family and breathe. And you know, he's got a growing baby and who's not becoming a baby anymore. They're just getting older by the day. And he deserves that. He deserves that family time and deserves to, you know, hang his feet up and, you know, put his feet up for a while and just, you know, be able to do find other ways to be able to utilize his gifts towards the wrestling community. So
well, we'll see what happens.
I do think it's interesting to note that should Swerve lose the AEW World Title in London, which, spoiler, I think is going to happen, he will not be the shortest reigning AEW World Champion. He'll miss that by about 3 days. He'll be champion at that point for 116 days. Samoa Joe's reign was for 113 days. So for all of the potential backlash that could come for him being the shortest reigning world champion, it won't happen that way, win, lose, or draw. So I think Swerve will be fine. I do think Swerve will regain the title in Washington. And then I think that'll send Bryan Danielson off. But I think he absolutely has to win. I don't think there's any option. He has to win in London. If he loses, and I think he keeps saying things in interviews that prove that he's going to win. I was watching Collision, and he talked about the fact that he's had 4 title shots. There's no way he's losing a 5th one. There's just absolutely no way. And then if your biggest moment in your career is WrestleMania, then that doesn't say much about your post-WWE career. He has to win this to have that big, giant stadium moment in his career. So, yeah, look for it to happen in 13 days, folks.
So we can just say Bosa made the prediction. We'll see if he is correct.
Well. Look who's here. Oh, yeah.
Just another manic Monday.
To fill you in, Courtney, the mayor has had some beef with people on the team and people in the chat. He's just beefing everywhere. So
flustered.
Beef
Who
is
don't you have a beef? Who don't you have a beef with?
Oh goodness.
Right.
What we got next?
We'll hop over to WWE. Of course, we're getting ready for a couple of big PLEs. Black Bash in Berlin is coming into this month. Then following that is the return of Bad Blood, which will happen right here in the ATL. The promos for it were put together by Cody Rhodes and producer Metro Boomin. Metro Boomin recently talked about just working with Cody and what that's meant. And he told Variety, quote, as a lifelong fan of the WWE, it was an honor to work with the legend and undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes. I'm bringing the iconic Bad Blood back home to Atlanta. His story is inspiring to me, and I'm sure it is to millions of others. I'm very excited for October the 5th so the world can see what we've been cooking up. Of course, the very first Bad Blood took place in 1997. And it was headlined by the first ever Hell in a Cell match between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. And that's where we learned that that's got to be Kane.
So what, we having a cookout at your house, Professor?
No. That's just because I don't have room. I don't have room. And we'll all be there anyway. So
Damn.
oh, I mean, if I don't have room, I don't have room. I mean, I can't fix that.
I just said damn. All right. Courtney, thoughts?
See, TK, you trying to make it something. This is what you're trying to make it something that it's not. I just don't have the room.
I'm just saying, if we all happen to be in Atlanta for the show, like you're gonna have a cookout since you're based in Atlanta, and you're like, absolutely not. So I'm like, who am I?
I'm saying I don't have room at my house to do that. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't mean we can't get together and do something.
You have a whole studio in the back there, and little professor's there running up and down and living his best life. But you know, if you don't have room, you don't have room. It is what it is.
Here we go. Courtney, what are your thoughts on Bad Blood?
I am actually excited. I will say, because the last Bad Blood I saw was 2003. No, 2004. 2004 was the last time I saw Bad Blood. So I'm excited that they're bringing it back, because for me, I get very excited when they bring back the classic pay-per-views, which I think they should bring back again. But it's a start, and I'm excited to see Bad Blood. And I know this is really early, but I predicted a few matches that are going to happen at Bad Blood. Of course, Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, that's not going to end. They're going to have a match at Bad Blood. Rhea and Liv Morgan, they're probably going to have a match at Bad Blood, because there's still going to be at it. And I don't know what else is going to happen. I think it's going to be interesting to see. And I know there's going to be some matches probably happening, not at Bash at Berlin, but they'll start to build up. And also, I wouldn't be surprised if Finn Balor and Damian Priest had a match at Bad Blood.
I like those. Honey?
Yeah, man, Bad Blood. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And we have a lot, to go until then still, because we still have tonight. We got SmackDown, and there's just been so many different stories, so many different scenarios, and it's all intertwining in the WWE universe, and it's kind of like it's a lot to keep up with. It's so much to keep up with. Balor and Priest, I would love to see at Bad Blood for sure. If someone's not bleeding at Bad Blood, I don't want it, because you have to have it. With Cody Rhodes needs to have that Dusty Rhodes gruesome, grueling match. The Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect when they used to bleed back in the day. Like, I need some good old-fashioned Bad Blood. So I'm looking forward to that. I feel like we'll see that with Balor and Priest for sure. Gunther would have to be involved somewhere or another. I know he's got Bash in Berlin as well, but yeah, everybody's got their hands full.
Mayor.
Yeah, that'll be a fun show. I think that's where you'll see a lot of the feuds we've been seeing for the summer just blow over, whether it be Seth Priest, Liv, Rhea, Solo, Roman. You probably get part one there. But I think that's where you'll see your big shift, like how we always have like a shift after the draft and WrestleMania. I think that'll be your next big shift before we start building towards WrestleMania in Vegas.
We haven't done this in a long time, because we used to talk about this as far as putting storylines in the box. When The Rock, and we were talking about him coming to Hollywood, and ad nauseum we would talk about it. So I'm going to throw something, a storyline out there, because I know we're months away from Vegas. But with that being said, do we think that there is, but before I even get into the question, Timu Bloodline, when I was watching SmackDown, that's the only thing I can think of. So thank you, but not thank you, honey. But anyways,
somebody had a Timu Bloodline sign.
Did you see that? Yes, I was just going to say, I saw the Timu Bloodline sign. I'm like, someone's listening, and I'm here for it.
Do you think we're going to get to a point where we're going to actually have a civil war, Bloodline civil war, Roman versus The Rock in Vegas? Or do you think this story has more legs, and that's going to be put off for a little bit longer?
It's so funny you mentioned that, because I don't know who made the graphic for it. I forget where I saw it. I don't know if it was Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, but somebody had posted. There's definitely. Do I think there's going to be a bloodline civil war? Absolutely. It's you could 100% see it building like down week by week. But with the graphic that I saw earlier today, it kind of showed a different and deeper story to the bloodline. I know everybody's like Rock versus Roman, but there's also, Solo has his own Timu bloodline. It's him, Jacob, Tamatonga, Tongaloa. Roman's bloodline is Jimmy, Jay, Sammy. You could even consider. There was another graphic in the middle. It had all three. They had those two factions and one in the middle, and it was Dwayne. It was The Rock. Then you had Hikuleo in that picture, Zilla Fatu, and I forgot who else it was. But it was just it just looked pretty insane. And I was like, you know what? If that were to happen, that would be pretty crazy. An even deeper bloodline civil war where all like three, you have Roman, Solo, and The Rock all against each other, like because everybody is pretty much vying for that power and to see who the real head of the table is. I mean, honestly, that's something I don't even want to touch until we get to Vegas. Somebody had asked me that during my Friday night watch along last week. If I had to choose between The Rock and Roman, I said, I'm not choosing. I'm just going to sit back and eat my popcorn and enjoy the show because it's the same way I got through Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. So I'm just going to do that. But do I think there's going to be a bloodline civil war? Absolutely.
Said, Mayor.
You're asking directly if there will be a civil war, or if like this leading towards Rock and Roman?
Yeah, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, somebody brought up Survivor Series. Obviously, it's coming up. I mean, there's so many possibilities, but I feel like you can only do this at WrestleMania. So, what do you think is the storyline is happening? The Rock has showed up, and I'm referencing what we talked about 2 years ago. He finally showed up a year later. But The Rock has showed up. He's disappeared again. We're seeing things happen. What do you think do we think we're going to get to that? Or what do you think is going to happen as far as the bloodline is concerned?
I don't think there's any way The Rock works a War Games match. So I don't know what happens there. But I'm of the mindset that if The Rock Roman does happen, that it might be on a smaller scale. I'm starting to think it doesn't happen at WrestleMania. I'm starting to think it's more so like Rock Cody at Mania more than anything. And I'm even thinking that while we still have the time, because I'm thinking about Roman's documentary that he had that came out right before WrestleMania. And it makes me think that there's not that much time left that he has like you've done everything. So I'm thinking that at some point you got to finally do Roman and Seth before it's like too late, because Seth is just his body's taken such a toll that eventually you just have to pay that off.
I will remind
so many curveballs that can happen between now and Mania.
I will remind everybody of a quote from the episode of Young Rock where they show little Roman Reigns trying to wrestle young Dwayne Johnson, and the quote that he said to him when he said he wanted to wrestle, he said, "Nuh-uh, a match like that big can only happen at WrestleMania." And if I know Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he loves a good foretelling. So we have to get that. Roman and Cody, Rock and Cody is definitely going to happen. That's probably going to be one of the first orders of business for The Rock because that was the last thing he said. But yeah, Cody and The Rock first, and Roman and Seth is definitely going to cap off towards probably the end of Roman's story. And I think The Rock versus Roman happens before Seth and Roman, honestly.
Courtney?
It's going to be really interesting because Roman came back at SummerSlam. He's looking for revenge against Solo, especially after Solo called him weak. So it's going to be interesting how that's going to build up in a couple weeks. And especially not only with Bad Blood, but also Survivor Series. I would not be shocked if there was a match that was happening within Survivor Series because, of course, we hadn't seen Jimmy in a while. And I know Jay is on Raw, but of course he wants to help out his brother. So there's a lot of things that could happen between now and WrestleMania. And also, cliffhanger where The Rock gave Cody something after WrestleMania. So he's not done with Cody. So there's a lot of layers that can happen with this. And I'm really excited on how this is going to go, not just with Bad Blood, but with Survivor Series and also leading up to WrestleMania next year in Vegas. So there's a lot of angles that I'm intrigued to see.
Professor?
Yeah, so a few things. One, I definitely think we're going to get this Civil War at War Games in November. But what's interesting to me is what happened this past Friday. Roman literally single-handedly eliminated the bloodline, save Jacob Fatu, because Jacob Fatu wasn't there. So now, for this to even make sense, the Temu bloodline is going to have some moments of domination, because the idea that one man pretty much took them out doesn't say a whole lot for them. We've seen 2 Superman punches to Solo. We've seen him just literally wear out the Gorillas of Destiny. So they're going to have to go back to square one, they being Solo's bloodline, to figure out what in the world they can do to damage Roman or anything like that. Roman Rock only happens at WrestleMania. I told you guys this last year when everybody was trying to make it happen at Elimination Chamber because that was a stadium in Australia. I'm like, people, you haven't paid attention to The Rock. The Rock is only showing up at WrestleMania to get in the ring. Now, he might come appear, and stand at the podium or something, but he's not getting in the ring and wrestling anywhere other than WrestleMania. With that said, let's not forget that this year was the first year that we actually saw them utilize those 2 nights involving wrestlers wrestling both nights. So it is highly conceivable that we could get Rock and Cody on night 1 and Rock and Roman on night 2. That's very conceivable. And in Vegas at that, because I do feel like we're not getting past 41 without Rock and Roman. Mm-hmm. I think WWE historically looks at 2 matches that never happened in WWE that should have at a WrestleMania. They'll never forgive themselves for not doing Hogan Flair at WrestleMania, and they'll never forgive themselves for not doing Sting and Undertaker. We'll never get Sting and Undertaker anywhere, ever. And of course, Hogan Flair won't happen at WrestleMania, though I think both of them at some point probably want to get in the ring again because they just can't stay away. So we're going to get Rock and Roman in Vegas 41, because we can't guarantee that's going to happen for 42 for either of those guys. So we got to strike while the iron's hot. That'll happen. How we get there will be very interesting. In terms of Seth and Roman, I think a lot will depend on, where Seth's body is in all of this. That could easily be a Royal Rumble kind of situation. Remember, we've got a couple of major events that are happening that could afford a Roman Seth. I mean, the last time they fought was at a Royal Rumble. So that could easily happen again. But yeah, we're definitely going to see this bloodline play out. I just don't want them to turn this into an NWO situation where we've got, 7 different versions of the NWO out there.
And everybody wants to join.
Yeah. We don't need 7 versions. But here's the thing. Too much of a thing waters it down. So we can't have 4 versions of the bloodline. It's just not going to work. 2 is the max. Pick your side and rock on that. After that, we got to let that go.
And not for nothing, I think it's quite interesting that this also could possibly happen in the same city where everything transpired at the press conference in Vegas this past year that kicked off the slap across the world. It's just pure poetry, and it just goes to show like how well they're going to, like, you already see it, but like just to wonder the different layers that they have, that they could peel off this onion and just completely crisscrossing the stories and, you know, between Raw and SmackDown. But yeah, I think it's just poetic. It would be poetic justice to have The Rock versus Roman at Mania because of the situation when The Rock came to defend Roman at the press conference in the same city. It only makes sense, even with Cody Rhodes being involved in anything, you know, Seth and Roman as well, because all four of them were in the main card. And to answer someone's question, The Rock can do both nights because that's exactly what he did this year.
That's true.
It's no shade.
True.
Well, I mean,
You know,
I feel like that question is like, could he? Because that's what he did this year, but it wasn't completely on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's, I think.
Wait.
I mean, he technically kind of
respectfully. Let's put some respect on The Rock's name.
Dwayne The Rock.
A lot of people had a lot of things. We don't know if Rock can carry night one. We don't know if Rock can do XYZ. He did it. And he can clearly prepare for those two nights. He took 12 weeks to prepare for WrestleMania so that he would be in great shape on both nights. If this is what it requires of him, and he knows that's what he came back for, he's going to prepare for it. He's totally going to prepare for it. This is not, he didn't wrestle. Did y'all watch the same WrestleMania?
I was there. I saw him in both main events. He was in a tag
I watched it on Peacock. I watched both nights of WrestleMania on Peacock.
These people. I mean,
he was wrestling in the crowd, outside the ring.
I think what they're saying is that can he pull that type of performance off both nights?
No,
that was on record. The longest Mania match was the tag team match on night one.
Correct.
So
that he got the
can he
pinfall
do that
on
2 nights in a row, which is like wrestle let's just say like a 27-minute program back-to-back nights. That's fair.
Boy.
That's a fair ask.
And you have to take 10 minutes of his walk-up because it took him 10 minutes to get from the back of the stage to the ring.
But that's because it's a long stage.
It took them all 10 minutes to get out there.
We're not going to act like this was a 4-foot stage and a 4-foot runway here. It's walking half the length of a football stadium.
Every single one of them. Every single one of those men's entrances took 10 minutes, damn it. Like not
everybody. Not everybody. The Rock and Roman
damn near.
About 23 minutes for both of them to get out. It was the slow-mo walk. Like
he's only getting a year older. It's fair to question the gas tank. That's totally invalid.
No. Here's the thing. Here's why I think it's unfair. It's unfair. It's even more unfair because he proved to us night one that he can do this. Everybody had questions because he hadn't wrestled in years, and he's going to be in the main event. He's going to be in the main event with 3 top stars. You're talking Seth, you're talking Cody, you're talking Roman. This isn't about carrying somebody. He lasted in there. And we also have to remember this too. The beauty of the kind of storytelling that wrestlers like The Rock, like Cody, like Roman do, it's very methodical. This is not an AEW style of match where they're doing flips and high spots for 30 minutes. Okay. They're telling a story and they're doing this using wisdom. So again, I say, let's not do that to this man. Listen, when we witnessed, do we need to pull the record on that horrible match that happened? This is no knock on Australia. It's not Australia's fault. When Kane and The Undertaker fought Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
At Super Showdown.
All 4 of them stunk up the joint. All right? Nobody sat back and said...
Michael looked the best there. That was Michael. He looked the best there.
You mean
the
Shawn.
best of those 4?
Best of 4.
It was terrible. So what I'm saying is I think we have seen performances from people who have not wrestled in a while that was questionable, that would make us go, oh, yeah, we should be questioning them. We should not be questioning The Rock based on what we saw at WrestleMania. We're not talking about him wrestling every week. We're talking about him preparing for WrestleMania, and he's not going to get in there if he can't get the job done. Y'all know better.
And mind you, he was training with Gallus. Like,
hello,
we're not going to sit here and disdain this man's work.
I can't let us do that,
especially with how hard he's trained for his whole life. Like, come on, this is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the final.
We're better than that. We're better than that.
First off, I let you have your monologue, Professor, and most of the times you're very accurate of interpreting certain things I said. First off, I never said that The Rock can't go, but we cannot take away the fact that
I'm referencing people in the chat.
Yeah,
who said he couldn't go. I didn't say that. There were people in the chat who clearly said he can't go.
Yeah, I think they're basing it off of what I said. And what I'm saying is that, yes, I was there both nights as well. Can he go solo dolo? Yes, he could probably train for it, but we can't take away the fact that age is not even age. Time is undefeated. Time is undefeated. Could he go solo? Yes. But I'm willing to bet if you were to poll The Rock himself and say, hey, Rock, 2 nights. You can do 2 nights at the age you're at now, or do 2 nights 20 years ago. He's going to pick 20 years ago. Who wouldn't? You're always going to pick your younger self. Your younger self can go. Like, that's
I am not standing. Now, this is ageism, and I'm not standing for it. But I'm gonna let you have it because I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this.
There's truth to it.
You go ahead. Go ahead. I'm not doing this.
Not when you got guys like R-Truth running around here and all that. Like, age is nothing.
Our truth can also go. But the basics of it. We just finished the Olympics, right? Let's take it to the 100-meter. We just finished the Olympics. You're going to have somebody who won the gold at 21 and then 30 years later, here, try to win the gold again at the same time. It's not going to happen. You could believe it, but it's not going to happen. It's not ageism. That's just the way your body works. Your body starts breaking down, period. So I'm not saying he can't go. I'm just saying if you were to Rock, listen, because I know you watch the show. Rock, look, DJ, because that's how we are. DJ, this is from TK. Here's the thing: if you had a choice, you could wave your magic wand and take The Rock after he played football, no injuries, and do 2 nights in Vegas with that body versus the body you have now. Which one would you pick? DJ, let me know. I'm waiting. My DMs are open. Just let me know, or come on the show next Wednesday. You can let us know. I'm just saying.
That track thing wasn't a bad analogy, but I'm still side-eyeing it because it was just
Thank you.
It wasn't bad. You tied it up, but you really
you stretched on that one. You stretched real far on that one because we're not running a 100. We're not running the 100 meter here. You are taking a man who can this is the same reason why boxers can go as long, because they're not boxing every night. They're training for a certain, they take 8 months, 12 months between fights and things of that nature. So I'm just saying that, thank you, cousin. That, first of all, this is steeped in ageism. Okay. And I'm not, it is because you brought age up. That's what you said. I need y'all to run the tape back.
And then, run the tape back. Then I corrected myself. You're absolutely right. Then I corrected myself and I said time. Because at the end of the day.
So what does time have to do?
You're lying.
Wow.
I'm just saying. This Oscar guy. You're lying.
What? Oh,
put my dog down now. Let's go. Let's go. What are you saying now, Professor?
Oh my Lord.
For the record, that
Only
was
thing
said
better about
directing
Oscar
that.
is dancing right now. That's it. Dancing.
We got a bunch of things all happening at the same time. Courtney, I'm sorry you walked into this.
No, that's okay, because I just want to go on record because you say age. Look at Billy Gunn, and he's 60 years old, and he's still kicking. I'm just saying.
We could run down the list of athletes in the WWE, in pro wrestling in general, who are not at what TK would consider an ideal age, and they are killing it. And you know, I say that because you are the one who always brings up the age conversation. Nobody else has been talking about The Rock and his age. Nobody talks about that because this isn't an issue of age. And here's the other thing, which I think is important. The reason that we're still asking for The Rock is because of his star power and the connection to this giant storyline. If age were ever an issue and he felt like he couldn't do it anymore, he would walk away. John Cena is choosing to walk away because he feels like he can't do it anymore. But for us to superimpose that on somebody who is a headliner, who is clearly one of the attractions for WrestleMania, is absolutely ludicrous and asinine. Why would we do that? That makes absolutely no sense.
That's the word of the day. I got to go use that in a sentence after this show.
It makes no sense.
I like that.
It just makes no sense. Why would we do that? Like, again,
I'm not saying that he couldn't go. I'm saying he could go.
You said that, but point to a bad Rock performance in these last few years that he's been in the ring. Point to it.
Yes, he's taking breaks in between. I'm not saying he can't go.
No. I said point to a bad Rock performance.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Professor. I'm just saying DJ. I'm just saying DJ would agree with me.
Now, Mayor. Quite a few of those. Stay on topic. Let's stay on topic. We don't want to invoke the spirit of the councilman. Okay.
I'm sorry. That was out of bounds. I'm just overly prepared.
The Pereziacs are coming with pitchforks and torches at your door, sir. So watch out.
We ain't worried about no cough, sir.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to mediate this, but
it's nothing to mediate. I agree with what you're saying, Professor. And like I said, I did walk back. I did not mean to say age. I said time. And I also believe if we were to talk to DJ, he would agree with me. I'm not saying he can't go both nights. Star power, and he's gonna do it. Perfect. He can do it, and people still pay to see it.
JD, stay focused. We're talking about in ring.
I gotta give him that. I have to give him
that. I'm talking exclusively in ring. I cannot speak to his. I cannot speak to his movie comp. I can't speak to the movies. I cannot.
That's a man. When you give him the mic, he knows exactly how to turn it on, and he's done it even with no mic. Okay, we saw the different kind of promos he did. Like we even saw when they had to pivot in the press conference, and the crowd wasn't really feeling the whole bloodline tree thing, and then the slap, and then beating Cody to a bloody pulp. Like, hello, do we not remember the cinema behind all this? We've talked about this in extreme exhaustion, and we continue to do this. This is all. It's because of that. It's because of that damn WrestleMania. It's because of that curse of WrestleMania. And you know what? I'm gonna go back to it. I'm gonna blame all these damn Cody crybabies. It's the Cody crybabies' fault in the first place that we had to get this delayed. Okay, so let's not blame Dwayne and check on his abilities. Man, listen, if the man say he could go, and especially if he's got a mic in his hand, he's not failing. He's not.
And I never said he couldn't go. I'm just saying DJ
he killed it this year.
Would trade the younger DJ for, like, he would say, like anybody would. Like, I'm agreeing with you. I'm not saying he can't go both nights. This is the whole thing. I don't know why you guys are getting on.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Well,
it's not like
that's a different kind of topic now. That's we're talking in reference to the people's in ring ability, the people's champs in ring ability, not the people's strudel. Not that. We're not talking about
the people's strudel. All right.
Well played there, honey. Well played. Oh boy.
What's it?
Oh boy. Womp?
I got
Why did she get a womp for that? Why did she get a womp? That's what he called it.
Yeah, that was a legacy pull right there.
You know
what? That was.
I resent that womp.
Yes, you are meant to
Oh.
accusations. These are not accusations. This is false accusation. And I got a lot left in the tank.
I could bring more. I got more.
Wow. And also, like I said at the beginning of the show, I did a deep dive. I was watching a bunch of A&W biographies. Courtney, you did bring up Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn in the biography did say, you know, he's getting father time and he's not like he used to be. He did say that. This is everything that I'm referencing. Go back and watch it. This is just what I'm talking about. I'm just saying. I want to see Rock go. I am a Rock fan. I am a fan of DJ. I watch his movies, all the things. I want to see him go 2 nights.
He will. He will. He will now because he heard you.
You know, I'm just come on the show. I'm sure he would agree with me. Like you just want to win.
I personally think that he would pick the DJ now. Just saying.
I do
because
too.
without anything before the final boss, we wouldn't have the final boss.
Yes, but what I'm saying, as far as not taking away, if you were to keep all your wisdom and then have a former self, then you pick the former self. Less injuries, more energy. Come on now. But you know, what do I know? I'm just me and my dog.
That's my dog. God, I miss him. God, I miss him.
That's what we doing.
Oh, well, I'll say this much, guys, and this is what's interesting. There are, you watched Raw last week, you saw that there's definitely a split in what we know as the Judgment Day. It seems as though Rhea Ripley is out, and oh boy. Let me just stop now.
Yay!
Say his name and he'll appear.
Oh,
where's that? I don't know, Dylan, if you made me a graphic for the Councilman, but if you have it, you need to get one. But all right, Councilman. Courtney, meet the Councilman. Councilman, meet Courtney.
Hi.
Courtney is wondering what she just got herself into. My Lord.
I'm civil today.
Like, I love pro wrestling.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm here as a friendly correspondent.
I can take it like a champ. I can take it.
Oh no, Courtney, you will be fine. You will be fine. You see the guy in the blue shirt trembling over there, being real quiet. That's the one that is worried when I pop up on you. That's the one.
Trembling.
Hi, Co-Mayor. How are you today?
This man coming on this platform supporting illegal driving yet again, but wants to call himself a councilman.
I'm parked. All right, I'm parked this time.
Seatbelt on?
I plead the fifth completely.
Oh.
Who has their seatbelt on while they parked?
Just want to know who's coming or going. You come when
I was safe while I was driving.
Okay.
Tag team partner, how are you? How is everybody? This is about me. Just saying hello, stopping in. Hollywood Professor, how are you?
I am well, kind sir. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Hollywood Professor, that's funny. I just caught that. That's funny.
Yeah, I just wanted to pop in and say, hey man, miss y'all, miss being on here, just getting back to LA.
Oh, you missed all that just happened, yeah?
I did miss all that.
You're gonna have to go back and watch it. It got a little spicy around here.
Did it get spicy, or did we just have the same conversation about? I mean, I was in the same boat as you. I'm just saying, but you know,
she trying to make it spicier. She trying to make it spicier.
Did I hear that you were back in LA?
Almost.
Okay. Almost. You had to leave Strattonville before the sun went down, right?
Wow. Wow.
That's just what I heard. That's just what I heard.
What exactly did you hear, Mayor?
It's a sundown town, you know. You don't want to be out there at nighttime, you know. You just gotta be a little safe.
Apparently, the mayor has like a whole file of like wrongdoings and
We got a rap sheet.
things going on that you're being accused of, Councilman. I told him I have no such thing, and Councilman
with
is
his
a great.
Parisiac constituents.
Stop it! Oh my God!
All I know is this: through all the allegations given, I will never give up on my towns. Unlike some I know.
Oh my God!
It's Councilman Will Ferrell of Strattonville with his Parisiac constituents.
This is great.
That is
listen. The bash of the officials is coming soon. The bash of the officials is coming soon. I will defend myself during the great debate.
That's all I ask. You got some claims you got to defend. I know Strattonville is one of the last places to acknowledge MLK Day. I just want you to answer.
What?
I'm surprised you didn't say it in Spanish, sir, for Vice City. I'm surprised you don't bounce back between your lingo.
I'll speak a lot of Espanol of the battle, sir. I'm fluent.
I hope so. I hope you your Spanish is about as great as that back fist of your clients. Hope it'll be there. I will say though, I do love how Bailey was crediting Roxanne and saying some very good things about the Parisiacs. And I also heard about what they said about Lola Vice too. Oh wait, they didn't say anything because no one in the main roster is talking about her.
Spoken like a true fourth horsewoman. I expect nothing less. But you know who is talking about Lola?
Wait.
Michael Shaw Hickabotham. Because Lola is the leader of No Mercy. She's on the commercial. When you want stuff to happen, you call Lola. Sexy Red, we need a twerk video. Oh, Lola got that.
Oh yeah,
we need somebody to knock out Shayna Baszler.
I keep forgetting Cedric's excited about their first appearance. How many has Roxy had? I keep forgetting. You know, we've already achieved that achievement.
It's funny how you get appearances based off the hind legs of somebody getting booted out the company, but we would have never known who Roxanne was if Mandy Rose didn't fumble. But we wouldn't know who Lola Vice was if she wasn't clapping cheeks. But you know, hey.
All right. Well,
you gotta get there. You know how you get to the point is you remain on top when you get there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I'm sorry, Real TK.
We're spinning backface. At least we know one of our.
Heard the news. It's pretty big. I heard from my friend who heard from her friend all the way from the Caribbean. Well, when I heard from my friend, I became super excited. And I think you guys will like it too. WWT now has an official partner and it's All Caribbean Wrestling, the premier promotion across the Caribbean. Go to allcaribbeanwrestling.com to check out all the latest pay-per-views or go on the YouTube page at All Caribbean Wrestling. Also, go and check out their socials on Instagram at All Caribbean Wrestling and on X at All Caribbean WR1. Now, you make sure you go and check them out and tell them WWT sent you. You hear me?
all right.
Oh, good God.
The meet, or what is it? Not meeting. The great debate is going to be happening 2 Mondays from now, or next Monday, on the 26th, or is it next Monday?
It's next when wasn't it Wednesday? I thought it was Wednesday.
Wednesday. I mean, but the mayor, when would you like to lose? What day would you like to lose?
Ain't gonna be no L's, man.
Oh,
it's my father homie in there too.
Works in you. Work.
Well, just to answer Cyndial's question, the longest reigning undefeated NXT Women's Champion is indeed Asuka.
Mm-hmm.
What have you done for me lately?
The greatest.
What did you say?
What have you done for me lately, Asuka?
She's out.
Oh, she's injured.
No, can we ask quick? What has Lola done lately besides fall?
Be the face of No Mercy.
Will she be the main event?
Roxanne won't.
She'll be second though.
She'll open the show.
We can save this debate for next Wednesday. But with that being said, Professor, is there anything else that you want to touch on?
Well, let's talk about this. Last Monday, we saw that the Judgment Day officially made some changes in their personnel. Of course, Damian Priest is out, Rhea Ripley is out, and the new group seems to have everyone else who was in the Judgment Day add Liv Morgan, which I think is going to be very, very interesting. So the talk right now is that there may be a new name for this group that is currently known as the Judgment Day. It is believed that a very interesting name could be rebranding them, and that name is Street Trash.
Sounds like an analogy for Pop Rocks, don't it?
I'm gonna ignore that so we can finish the show. I'm gonna.
So let me ask you guys.
Be the better person. You gotta be the better person.
The question is, if the Judgment Day needs a first of all, does the Judgment Day need a rebrand? And if they do, what should that name be? Courtney, let's go to you. Let's hear your wonderful melodious voice to bring some peace and harmony to our fallen world.
Well, it's gonna be interesting tonight because Damien's out, Rhea's out, so it's gonna be really interesting on how they're gonna rebrand the Judgment Day. And oh God, Balor Club. I don't know if I rename it Balor Club. So I'm looking at the comments because that needs to be sincere. And I love Finn Balor, by the way, but I think it needs to be a different name. Now, Street Trash, that's a bit odd. I don't know what kind of name they're gonna have because it's gonna be really interesting. But I'm intrigued to see what's gonna happen on Raw because I'm trying to think of a name because I feel like Carlito needs to be out and
that's right. Carlito's in there too. Yes.
Yeah, he's in there. So I feel like at some point he's gonna be out because he's not officially a part of it. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm actually curious on what the name is going to be because Street Trash, that's a bit no, it just doesn't fit the new Judgment Day.
Yeah, I can honestly say I don't like that Street Trash thing. If that's what it is, I'm not sure. I've been seeing it surfacing a little bit everywhere, but and I do have to agree with Courtney. I don't think and as well as JD Smith here, I don't think that Carlito meshes well quite yet. Maybe it just hasn't grown on me, but again, the last week was the first time they actually introduced themselves as an official faction. So we'll just have to wait and see how well that goes. But as far as tonight, though, I think the Terror Twins have this in the bag. I think the Terror Twins could take them on if they really wanted to. They might need a little bit more in their arsenal, maybe a couple, a little extra help. But from where, I don't know, being that they've dominated every single other person on this roster. So they got like a Jey Uso situation going on where after Jey Uso left the bloodline, a lot of people were kind of like down his throat about being, part of the bloodline and not being able to trust him, such as Randy Orton, such as, let's see. I'm trying to think of
Kevin Owens,
Drew McIntyre, even, like a lot of people questioned his loyalty. So I think there's just going to be a lot of chaotic changes like that have to do with the Judgment Day. I just hope that that's not their name. I really don't. I really hope not. And we already kind of heard Gunther use that reference on Damian Priest as well. So it's like, make that a faction. I don't know if that's a proper faction name. It doesn't even sound like intimidating or it doesn't even sound like it's something that a faction should be called.
Who started the Bullet Club? It was Balor, right?
No. Balor wasn't an original member, if my memory serves me correctly. Tama Tonga actually was one of the original members of Bullet Club.
Because I do remember Corey mentioned that when he first came on SmackDown, he was part of the Bullet Club.
It said that Bullet Club group was formed in May 2013 when Irish wrestler Prince Devitt betrayed his Japanese partner.
Oh, so he did. Okay.
He did, and then came together.
Though I don't think they'd go with Bullet Club, though.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd go with Bullet Club for obvious reasons.
Yeah, for sure. But they had Carl Anderson, Tongan wrestlers Bad Luck Fale, and Tama Tonga as well. So nice.
Because I know
Finn, I do love the fact that Finn has a faction, though. I do love that for him, and it puts him in like a the big man main card title picture because he should be by now. He's long overdue, and he's owed, if you ask me.
He should have been. Unfortunately, injury killed him, but he deserves that status.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get that back. He's due. He's way due.
Wow.
Everybody quiet. It's so weird right now.
Monday Night Raw is coming at the top of the hour, guys. It should be an absolutely fun show. So be on the lookout for that as we are headed to Bash in Berlin.
That is very true. And before we sign off, something that you might want to do, maybe before the great debate, just to see whose side you're on, is check out some merch.
Hey, yo, you. Yeah, you that's watching this. You sitting on the couch staring at the screen not knowing what you want to do like this is an online college. Are you tired of wearing shirts that make you look like an extra stuck in catering? Do you want to step your wrestling swag game up to the next level? Then Women's Wrestling Talk has got you covered. Like literally. Are you for life in pink or black and white? Or maybe you're the EST and people need to respect you accordingly. Want to put some pride in your stride and show off the muscle in your hustle? Then make sure you check out the WWT store. Not now, but right now. Alright? What you waiting for? Head to wwtalkpodstore.com and don't make me fight you. Shit.
Yeah, don't make her fight you because they're doing enough fighting here in this with this debate with these elected officials here. Okay,
Cousin Ron, say no
and
worries,
the parents.
guys. This is that weird semi-science at the dinner table after things got. Oh goodness! All right. Sorry again, Courtney. It's usually not like this, but it was fun.
It was fun. Like I said, if you want me back next week in honor of All In, I'm happy to be joining the days leading up to All In. So I'm happy to be back on next week.
I'm so glad we did not scare you away. And with that being said, where can everybody find you?
So if anybody wants to find me, they can find me on Instagram. I am on @CourtneyNJ11, where you're more than happy to follow me because, like I said, I wrapped up my reign as Miss New Jersey for America Strong. So if you want to check out what the stuff I did during my reign and even after my reign is over, feel free to check me out there. And I'm actually highly active on Instagram than I am on Twitter.
Jeffrey, I wasn't fighting anybody. I was just saying some stuff, and then Professor didn't want to invite me to the cookout, and it went downhill from there. Honey, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays here with the WWT Live crew. Don't forget to check out all my socials, Wrestling with Honey TikTok, Wrestling with Honey Instagram, Wrestling W Honey on Facebook, and the YouTube page, Wrestling with Honey podcast, as well as my Honey Pop predictions are going to be up in a couple minutes because Raw is coming at 7:30, and I like to predict the matches beforehand for Mondays and Fridays. And check out my Honey Night SmackDown watch along every Friday at 8 o'clock.
Y'all, oh boy. Oh, goodness.
You unleashed a fire incendio, Mayor. It's great.
I'm telling you.
That's Mayor's fault. That's Mayor's fault.
That's all your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she used to just bring the women's facts, and even Bosa too. Bosa's been following WWT AfterBuzz also for years, and Bosa's gotten spicier too. So I don't know what y'all did while I was gone, but
not for nothing. You shouldn't have said that Lola's back fist was better than Asuka's. You should never said that. That's what happened.
Man, you created a whole origin story for Cynthia to come at you now for that.
Seriously.
With that being said, Mayor, where can everybody find you?
I don't want to be found today. I don't want your follows or retweets, nothing like that. You can find me in the streets of Vice City. You can find me here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If you want to read some of my work, it's cedricdwalton.com. /Lola's Hips Don't Lie, Roxanne's Does. And you can find out more about that next Wednesday at the Great Debate. But that's all I got to say.
So wait, is this debate happening before or after WWT, or is it just going to be a whole?
It's to be determined, but it will be determined.
All right, well, time's ticking.
Councilman, where can everybody find you?
There's no need to find me. I just want y'all to be able to go support and grab some merch. And then I just want to thank everybody who donated to the Kickstarter, because we finally got some working internet in Vice City now. As you can see, Cedric did not slow down this time. So we're so glad that y'all put that effort, because we know how much Vice City needs help. And I'm just so glad that we were able to get that situated. So just make sure you do that, and then get ready for the bash of the officials. And wear black, because we always want to see someone get put in the grave like Lola Vice already was after them 5 Pop Rocks. So we got one ready right next for Cedric to lay right by his client. So that's it.
Professor, where can everybody find you?
Oh my Lord!
She went there last week too. I see what you. I know exactly what you're looking at. Oh, Sindel. The tea is hot.
All I do is promote Lola Vice. That's an interesting comment. I think you should retract that, man.
Wow. Wow. Well,
tried it.
You could find me at Bonnerfied across all of the social spaces. You can check out my commentary work with IWE and Southern Honor Wrestling on IWTV, and we had an amazing show Friday night on Southern Honor Wrestling. Just incredible. I mean, we had an appearance from WWE Hall of Famer Thunderbolt Patterson. He was there. Demolition Axe was there. On top of just an absolutely insane night, Robert Gibson and a lot of other incredible people. I can't wait for that show to come out. So check that out on IWTV. You can also check out my commentary work with All Caribbean Wrestling, of course, on YouTube and on allcaribbeanwrestling.com. Of course, we have a big event coming up end of August. It is Jam Slam in Jamaica. Should be absolutely fantastic. Also on YouTube, you can check out my work with the Nightmare Factory, with Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling, and of course my work with Ashe Wrestling. You can check it out at ashewrestling.com. And we look to bring peace, love, and soul to everyone here in the land of women's wrestling talk.
Shout out to all the women in wrestling. Shout out to Dwayne Johnson, and shout out to the big back Odyssey Jones.
You dang right.
What is going on? What Professor
City residents
is that Professor and I will be commentating in Jamaica for Jam Slam, so definitely want to check that out. There will be no ageism or any type of we are just enjoying. Or Professor will,
let's hope
in Jamaica, all the things. But thank you, Courtney, for hanging in there and wanting to come back on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys also in the chat. You made it quite interesting. I might have to reserve some time for this great debate. I may or may not. I don't know. It might have to be on Twitch. Kind of scared. But with that being said, you guys can follow me everywhere at TK Trinidad. Make sure you follow Women's Wrestling Talk everywhere at wwtalkpod.com and all social media platforms at wwtalkpod. Woo! What a show! I'll tell you that. With that being said, thank you guys so much for rocking with us. Thank you guys for rocking with Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao, y'all.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at wwtalkpod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at wwtalkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling